Relations between the United States of America and Palestinians are complex and strained. The United States does not recognize the state of Palestine, but accepts the Palestine Liberation Organization as a representative of the Palestinian people and the Palestinian National Authority as the authority legitimately governing the Palestinian territories under the Oslo Accords. The United States does not officially maintain any diplomatic office in the Palestinian territories, nor provide consular services to Palestinians. And since the closure of the PLO mission in Washington, D.C. in October 2018, the Palestinians have had no diplomatic representation in the United States. The United States has designated a Palestinian Affairs Unit within the U.S. Embassy in Jerusalem to handle relations with the Palestinian Authority, but Palestine is presently maintaining a public policy of non-cooperation with the office and with the United States in general. Since 2011 at least, the PLO's diplomatic effort has focused on the Palestine 194 campaign, which aims to gain full membership for Palestine in the United Nations. It seeks to effectively gain international recognition of the state of Palestine based on the 1967 borders, with East Jerusalem as its capital. The U.S. minimal conditions for relations with the Palestinians were Palestinian acceptance of United Nations Security Council Resolutions 242 and 338, the recognition of Israel's right to exist, and renunciation of terrorism. The PLO, established in 1964, did not receive any official recognition from the U.S. government. However, an unofficial PLO information office was permitted to establish in New York in 1964 and was run by Sadat Hassan, who served as permanent representative of Yemen to the United Nations. It operated until 1968, when it was closed. On May 1, 1978, the PLO was allowed to open the Palestine Information Office in Washington, D.C. The PO was registered with the Justice Department as a foreign agent. In 1987, the United States Congress adopted the Anti-Terrorism Act, which declared the PLO a terrorist organization, with a consequential ban on assisting it in any way, and the government ordered the closure of the PO. The PO appealed to the courts, but their objections were rejected. In 1988, a presidential waiver was issued to allow contact with the organization. A PLO office was reopened in 1989 as the Palestine Affairs Center. The PLO mission office in Washington, D.C. was opened in 1994. Following the establishment of the Palestinian National Authority in 1994 under the Oslo Agreement, the PLO office was renamed the PLO Mission to the United States. On the 20th of July 2010, the United States Department of State agreed to upgrade the status of the PLO mission in the United States to General Delegation of the PLO. The PLO mission office was ordered closed in October 2018. Before the 1973 Yom Kippur War, the U.S. government considered the PLO and Fatah under Yasser Arafat's leadership as a terrorist organization, and did not support PLO aspirations at the UN. U.S. diplomats in the Middle East were explicitly ordered by the State Department never to make any contacts with Arafat or any representative on his behalf. However, despite the negative view of the PLO, State Department officials began to view the Palestinian factor as crucial enough to be taken into consideration when brokering an Israeli-Jordanian agreement on the West Bank, in contrast to the negative diplomatic view of the PLO. The intelligence community did not refrain from clandestine contacts with that entity. And as early as October 1970, a senior Fatah representative delivered the Qiyam message about willingness by Arafat to recognize the State of Israel in exchange for U.S. support of a Palestinian state. This trend of clandestine contacts produced some tangible results following the Yom Kippur War. On November 3, 1973, a secret meeting was held in Morocco between Deputy Director of the Qiyam Vernon A. Walters and Khalid al-Hassan, number 2 in the PLO at the time, and the two discussed the possibility of integrating the PLO into the peace process. Even though no tangible agreement was reached at that meeting, it led to the restraint of Fatah attacks on U.S. targets. From 1974 onward, some circles in the Department of State were considering accepting the PLO as a partner in the Middle East peace process. In June 1974, U.S. Ambassador to Egypt Herman Eltz assessed that Arafat was looking for ways to integrate the PLO into the peace process. U.S. President Gerald Ford even alluded to that possibility in October 1974. In November 1974, Ford made a non-committal statement on U.S. position towards the PLO saying, "The Israelis have said they will never negotiate with the PLO. We are not a party for any negotiations. I think we have to let the decision as to who will negotiate to be the responsibility of the parties involved." However, due to U.S. support of the Israeli government, Washington agreed in 1975.